Hello friends, today's video is about the quote-unquote conspiracy theories and quote-unquote crazy conspiracy theories, and obviously that in relation to the stock market, all the other markets, including obviously housing market, as we walk down from North Sydney up the hill to towards Military Road. Eventually I'll get there. In any case, it's not about me, it is about these quote-unquote crazy conspiracy theories. Why they're crazy? Well, the first one is depopulation. Okay, Georgia, Guidestones, some of the other eugenics movements have been around for decades. Some say the plan's been in place for actually hundreds of years. Let's be conservative, say 100 years, to reduce the population. And yes, to make it a crazy, qualify for crazy conspiracy theory, we'll have to say that this particular one says the numbers will drop below 1 billion, which say means a reduction of 7 billion. Why am I even talking about it? Because I suppose maybe I'm a little bit crazy, just like the those conspiracies, but we never thought it would be locked down worldwide on and off for 18 months now, but we are. So, you know, nothing's impossible. You wouldn't put it past them, whoever they are. But this is again just a theory. What would that do to the market? Well, the market would get shocked. I mean, this wouldn't happen overnight though. But you know, the mess, so let's call it die-off, would actually start and be apparent for real this time. And a lot of the times we actually compare, and everybody seems to compare this, or you know, what may happen, what happened in the 1918, the Spanish flu, so-called. We just have to be very careful when we also, you know, talk about conspiracy theories, obviously, because they're just predicting dark future. But the history tells us that this Spanish flu wiped out, I haven't looked it up, but I think 50 million people at the time, when there was like 1 billion people on this world, which is a big thing. Obviously it's huge, much bigger than this. But then how do we know that actually happened? Or if it did, how do we know that it happened because of some virus that some people are actually disputing now? I mean, if we are in 2021 not sure that this is caused by a virus, how can we be certain then there was another virus that actually killed 50 million people 100 years ago, when the technology wasn't nowhere near as developed as it is now? So take everything with a huge grain of salt. Some sort of road works over there, or some works. What's very interesting is that I'm sure that most people would have kind of noticed that in many areas is that the building is booming. They're just building things and gold plating kind of roads, and like where there was maybe a crossing like that, they just rip it out and make a brand new one. Now, is it better than the one that is there compared to the brand new one? Of course it is. But you know, is it really needed? Not really. And many of those things, it just happens incredibly everywhere. I don't know what that means. I mean, that tells you, hey, those conspiracy theories may not eventuate. If they knew that there'd be a few of us around, why would they be building all these things? Well, never know. Maybe they're building a perfect world for the remaining numbers. So yeah, going back to what that would do to the market, obviously there would be a shock, there would be a scare. We'd see a spike down, but it wouldn't be a spike, or the spike maybe would last a few years until the market comes to terms that this is ongoing. There's no more uncertainty. It's ongoing, just the way that the market recovered from the bottom of the March 2020. May take a bit longer for this to eventuate, but it'll come back and say, hey, this is the quote-unquote, again, new normal. So you know, we just keep going. As far as the property market, it would have to be tanking and continue to tank into what some people have called, for stock market to happen, is a complete depression, not just recession like 1930s style, where it took I'm guessing now maybe like 25 years to come back to where it was. And that's a long time to be waiting for an asset class to come back where it was once. So not all that rosy for property if there's few of us that need housing, but the stock market will just recover. And let's take it to the extreme case of under $1 billion. I mean, it would just reduce there'd be less demand, of course, but then there'd be less things and people needed to satisfy that demand. So everything would just shrink exactly by that amount and rearrange itself. I mean, I can't even believe I'm talking about this, but let's, if it's not, 7 billion drop, what if it's like 100 million or something a bit more substantial, maybe 1 billion, new strain comes out, it actually does happen, there would be a shock as soon as the market actually realizes that, because hey, we're still locked down here in Sydney and Australia, and the whole world was for a little while, on and off, and yours truly doesn't think that's over at all. 2022 is going to probably be the worst because they're not done with what they're doing. What is that? I don't know. I don't know, but it's obvious, very obvious. It's becoming very obvious that it doesn't seem to have much to do with them caring about us. The thing is, I've gone through the process of, let's say, grieving, and I had my down when I realized what's happening. And a lot of the people that I was telling, there may just be a chance that, since nothing is making sense, there may just be a chance that government is not stupid. I hate when people say government is stupid. Well, they appear to be making stupid decisions unless their goal was such and such. So if you look at it that way and say, for them to gain more power and to do this ambition and goal, this is now making perfect sense. So my question to my friends who had doubts was and has been just recently, does it not look like it's not making sense if you accept the premise that they're trying to save us? And if nothing is making sense and the memes are coming out and even they are sharing those memes, government says one thing one day, the next day, how does it make sense? You can sit here but you can't do that, you can do this, completely doesn't make sense. Is there just a slight possibility that this is a conspiracy? Well, they're starting to think. But you know what? Nobody, including myself, is in the business of preaching to people, telling them what is, because I just don't know what is. Nobody knows what is. Well, some do, but they're too high up and we don't know who they are. So let's not bother ourselves with that. Maybe get ready for what may come. Maybe start taking personal responsibility. Do what we can to save us. Not wait for them to save us, because that's a dangerous game to play. And yeah, stay safe. We'll talk soon. Oh, that's nice. And yeah, enough of me rambling. Thanks for listening. Here's a bit more scenery. It seems to be very comfortable around here. But don't judge the book by its cover.